We're live. Boxing gossip in the house. Hope everyone is doing well. Let me just go onto the live stream and make sure we are rocking and rolling. Start of a very exciting night of boxing tonight, guys. On this particular live stream, looking to provide undercard commentary, prospects, Daniel Dubois and Anthony Yarde, both of whom are fighting on the undercard of the Boys Are Back in Town card, which is headlined by James Degale and by Lee Selby. Later on in the evening, of course, Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux. Huge fight in world boxing. So, big night of boxing. I must admit, I'm looking forward to it. These kind of Box Nation cards, for me, I always kind of enjoy them. Look, I don't look down this bill tonight and see any over-the-top competitive 50-50 fights. I'm not looking at this bill and saying we're going to have any upsets, we're going to have a classic. For me, it's not that kind of night. And, those nights are always the best. Having said that, a lot of these guys on the bill are guys I'm hugely excited to see. I always like watching Selby box. It's good to have Degale back. Dubois and Yarde, really interesting to see how they're progressing. Yarde in particular faces what I would consider a step-up fight. So Daniel Dubois, I believe, is going to be the first guy. I'm watching the Box Nation stream, and it looks like he's just warming up now. So hopefully Dubois will be out in just a few minutes. Can see, let me go to the chat. Got Paul Maynard, Paul from the podcast. Hope you're doing well, Paul. Legend. Got Jared, big supporter of the channel. Shout out to Jared. We got Lewis. We got the boxing mode. We got Sean. We got PJB. We got Rob. Rob, one of the earliest supporters of the channel, and still to this day the only man to give Boxing Gossip live chat a super chat. We got Mike, Bart, Sam, Lawrence, Stuart, Tubes, Anthony. Shout out to everyone who's joined. Thanks for choosing to watch this with me. Paul says he's living the dream. Daniel's joined. Mr. Dermo's joined. So, live commentary. I'm going to commentate live on the two undercard fights. This stream is probably, by the time it's hitting your ears, James has joined. Evening, James. He says he's a long-time lurker. This stream is probably hitting your ears about 10 seconds after the footage on Box Nation. So if you're watching on Box Nation or BT Sports, my recommendation is, if you've got a system that allows you to do that, like the Sky system, whatever, press pause, give it about 5 or 10 seconds, and try and sync the two up so that my commentary is live at the same time. Lawrence has joined, even Lawrence. So that's what we're going to do. Now, I've done this a few times before on the channel with varying degrees of success. People seem to enjoy the concept, so thought we'd give it a go. One of the things I struggle with for these kind of broadcasts is I always find my voice kind of gives out after about an hour. Like on the podcast, I can do 2 hours easy because, you're interacting with people. Lots of back and forth, you get lots of rest. On this, when you're solo, the voice starts giving out a lot earlier. So I'll do my best. Hopefully we can get both. Paul from the podcast says he might be kicking off his own boxing channel tonight. Paul, make sure you drop me an email or Facebook message or something, or tweet with that on, and I will make sure I broadcast your video. The boxing mode, love your page, mate. I'm a fan. My name's Craig from Facebook. Nice one, Craig. JG, J Billow. Cheers, guys. Right, so I can see Dubois and Darts are in the ring. Dorian Darts, probably best known for the loss to Anthony Joshua. He comes to the ring, 12 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw. Of his 12 wins, only 1 has come by way of stoppage. 6 foot tall, 33 years old. Boxrec have him as the 20th best heavyweight in the country. Lost to Ian Lewison, lost to Hughie Fury, lost to Anthony Joshua, lost to Eddie Chambers. Last time he got a draw with DL Jones, who's 8-0. So something of ambition. Daniel Dubois, 5-0. All five coming by way of big knockouts. 6'5", only 20 years old. One of the best prospects in the sport that we currently have. So, shout out to everyone in the chat. I'm going to come back to the chat in between rounds, and I will, yeah, bring you guys in between rounds if it even goes rounds. I did a pre-fight prediction for this fight. I have said I think Daniel Dubois will win very early. With Dorian Darts, for me, I rewatched the Anthony Joshua fight. He's a smaller guy. He's got limited technique. He kind of lunges in from range. I think Dubois is going to time him. But let's see. We're not going to worry about my prediction. We're going to commentate. Dorian Darts, I didn't watch the weigh-in, but just visually, I'm looking at him now in the corner. Just visually, he looks like he's in a little bit of better shape, actually. He looks like he's carrying a bit less fat on him. Dubois, 17 stone 1, 6'4.5". Box Nation have got him down as. He's clearly a monster, and at 20 years old, isn't it a scary thought that he hasn't even grown into himself yet? So the boxers are just being introduced. Looks like the MC is just doing his final introductions, and shortly going to call them to the middle for his final word before the fight begins. You know, with Daniel Dubois, we kind of know best to take a don't blink approach, because you know, a lot of his fights have ended very, very, very quickly indeed. So, yeah, boxers are called both guys to the center of the ring. You know, looks slightly tense in the face-off, but going to see it, and looking forward to seeing what Daniel Dubois looks like. Paul's saying he thinks Darts will make it out of the first. And we're about to get kicking, guys. So I will commentate live. As I say, this is probably 10 seconds behind the live footage. So if you want to sync it up, press pause for 5 or 10 seconds so that you can hear my commentary live with the action that you're watching on Box Nation. So the fight is beginning, and both guys come out to the center of the ring. Straight away, Dubois looks to establish that big left jab. He does look bigger than Darts, which is to be expected, both taller, and he just looks physically so much bigger and stronger. Darts coming forward. He hasn't landed anything, but Darts showing some ambition. You know, coming forward and looking to get some work off on Dubois. Dubois catches Darts with a little bit of a jab, and Dubois brings that right hand into play for the first time in the fight, and he brings it in again. Nothing to worry Darts with yet, and Darts is trying to get his own work back, but he's just falling short. He's not quite judging the range against the bigger man. Darts goes flying in with a big right hand. It misses, and the two guys holding in the center of the ring. So we've done about the first minute of the first round, and you know, Darts showing a little bit of ambition. He's not in there not looking to throw any punches. This is a 10-round fight, or at least it's scheduled for 10 rounds. Darts is lunging in. This is a pattern that we expected. He's lunging in. He realizes he can't jab his way in. He realizes he can't box with Dubois, so he's flying in looking to land something. And if he keeps doing that, he may well be open to getting caught. He's trying to construct a jab. He's just not landing with the same efficiency as Dubois, because he's a shorter guy. Dubois starting to stalk. He lands the right hand. It's not the cleanest of punches, but he's starting to bring it into play, and he's starting to load up on it. He's thrown 3 or 4 in the last 5 seconds. None of them have landed cleanly, but you kind of sense it's coming. You sense it's only a matter of time. Darts, maybe a little bit of reddening. He lands his own jab there, to be fair to him. Maybe a little bit of reddening around his left eye from that Dubois right hand. But Darts continues to try and get his work off. It continues to miss. Dubois trying to force Darts back. He is going in with that right hand. Dubois slightly green looking tonight. Slightly green. His jab is good. I just think sometimes he's too eager with that right hand, and he's kind of cuffing with it a bit more than, you know, timing with it. But anyway, we've done 2 minutes 15 of the first round, and Darts is still in there, and we haven't seen anything to trouble him yet. Looks like his nose is a bit reddened at this stage. Dubois lands a short right cross on the inside, which is the first punch that's wobbled Darts, and now Dubois puts punches together. He's landed 3 or 4 of note. Darts is in trouble. He's holding. He's trying to hold. He's trying to cling. Maybe he's just about done enough, but he's on unsteady legs. 20 seconds left of the first. Can he survive? The referee splits them up. Dubois looking to come back in. He's put the right hand in, and Darts has taken a knee. Dubois has landed the right hand. Darts has taken a knee. He doesn't look badly hurt. Looks like he'll get up. Probably going to be only a few seconds left of this round before it goes in. And Darts comes straight away, lunging in. And the end of the first round is there. So 70 of you watching live. If you are live, hit the thumbs up, please. Please leave your comments on that round in the chat, and I'll come to them in the round break. For me, Darts already showing signs of wear and tear. A little cut on his nose, little bit of reddening. Apparently, you guys are 40 seconds behind me. So if you're watching live on Box Nation, press pause on your set by 40 seconds, and hopefully you'll be seeing the image at the same time as you're hearing my voice. Tetley's in the chat. Shout out to Tetley, the Wizard, Copen, Paul. Thanks for joining all. First round, Daniel Dubois, for me, still showing some signs of inexperience in there, but, you know, a very, very dominant first round. He hasn't landed the cleanest of punches just yet, but you kind of sense he's got the power to get Darts out of there. The second round about to begin. Let's see. Darts is really lunging in, and he's getting caught now coming in. Dubois is very eager with that right hand, but he lands 1 or 2 there, and he's dropped Darts heavily. Darts is getting up. Well, he looks like he's going to get up. He doesn't look badly hurt. Let's see. Let's see if the referee allows it to continue. He's asking him to walk forward. Fight's continuing. And Dubois straight back behind that right hand. And Darts is down again. Third time he's been down now. He still doesn't look badly hurt, Dorian Darts. But he's clearly not able to take the power of Dubois when Dubois lands on him. The referee's going to let it continue. And Dubois straight in. Dubois trying to pump that jab. It's only a matter of time. There he goes. He times the right hand very nicely. And Dubois is dropped for the 4th time. And the referee, quite rightly, waves it off. Dubois, impressive, dominant streak of knockout continues. Second round knockout. Darts wasn't knocked unconscious there. The referee was right to wave it off. Don't get me wrong. Darts just couldn't stay on his feet, but he was able to get up there. He didn't look badly hurt. Interesting fight for me. Kind of what I expected. The fight wasn't dissimilar to that Anthony Joshua fight. Darts tried to get his own jab going, but just because he didn't have the size and the technique of Dubois, resorted to lunging in, trying to throw haymakers from range, you know, trying to loop punches in, and it left himself open to getting timed, getting caught. Dubois was able to get those straight punches going, connect with that right hand, and the second he started doing that, he just had the power to change the course of the fight. Dubois, wow. I'm not going to try and pronounce your name, mate, because I'm going to butcher it. Naliaskas says, Daniel is still young. He has still young. He has a great jab and power. And he certainly does. He certainly does. Bit overeager with the right hand for me tonight. Looking for it just that little bit too much. Bit too overeager. Sometimes leaving himself exposed. I'd like to see him throw it slightly more selectively. I'd like to see him pick his spots a little bit more rather than throwing it at every possible opportunity, and make sure he's timing his opponent. Because when he times his opponent, it's a sight to behold. But a little bit overeager with it tonight, a little bit green with it. And, you know, against a higher class opponent, he may end up eating a few more punches if he were to continue that. But very impressive win from young Daniel Dubois, who now moves to 6-0 with all 6 coming by way of early stop out. Copen was saying jab was landing on Dubois. Don't you agree? Darts did land 1 or 2 jabs in the fight. I just felt he didn't really have the size to make it a weapon, but he did land 1 or 2. Dubois ever so slightly open, because I feel he was loading up with that right hand, and you know, he's clearly enjoying his KO streak and looking to continue in that mold. But yeah, 1 or 2 punches landing. PJB says darts human punch bag. Lawrence says all about making an impression. Well, he's certainly doing that. 83 of you watching live. Please help me out. Less than half of you taking the time to click the thumbs up button. Click that so we can get even more people joining live. If there's anyone new, if there's anyone who hasn't yet signed up to the channel as a subscriber, please press subscribe now so you can be informed of all the other uploads that we do on the channel and that sort of thing. I can see one person has subscribed as we've been live for this show, so shout out to whoever that was. Let's have a look. Rob says hard to take much from that fight. Absolutely. James Livermore says better take it slow with Dubois' matchmaking. Yeah, there's no need to rush Daniel Dubois. Chris says he learned nothing. Jonathan says who would you put Dubois in with next? Maybe Sokolovsky. Maybe that guy who just fought David Price. You know, he just went a distance with Price. Maybe that's a good fight. I think Dubois will learn and gain experience from rounds. Paul says, has it been a while since Yarde fought? Must be a couple of months. Oasis says Dubois looks world class already. I have to disagree there. For me, very, very talented, but quite raw at this point. And, you know, as the level of opponent steps up, he'll need to refine his game a little bit. Copend says best to take it slow. Best way to take it slow is not to put him on live TV. I don't see that as realistic, I'm afraid, Copend. He's already got a big following. And they're doing a decent job of raising his profile. You know, putting him on live TV is a good part of that. Tetley says he always presses the thumbs up on his way in. Thank you very much, Tetley. That's just what we need. Noah says who should Dubois fight next? I think that's Sokolowski, who Price fought would be a good test. Paul says we're never going to learn much. We were never going to learn much. Yeah, Dorian Darts is that kind of opponent. Stuart is the new subscriber. Oh no, he's put it not really. Okay, so whoever it was, thank you. Moldy says I hope Dart's got a decent purse for that. Steve says he's just joined. So Steve is Yarde next. He is next. Rob says no need to trust Dubois. Stuart says Dubois sort of carried him a bit. Got a few rounds in. I think Dubois is enjoying this knockout streak. Let's have a look. Lawrence said to do that to Darts 20 in your 6th fight. No need to rush him. He's doing a great job. Right. Nick has subbed. Thank you, Nick. Watched your channel for a few years. Great channel. Appreciate the support. Thanks for pressing subscribe. Anyone else who's yet to do that, please follow Nick's example. Hit subscribe. Paul says he's not world class yet. No. He's a prospect. The Hitman wants Danny Williams, Skelton, Sprott, and Audley. Wow. Some ghosts there. Paul says it's just not possible to tell at this stage. Completely agree. Rob says, you reckon the Gorman fight is going to be made? They mandated it for the English title. Not yet, Rob. I think it's too early. Don't think they'll make that fight till it's a bigger fight. Fat Apple says he thinks Dubois beats Yoka. Lewis says, would Dubois stop Sokolowski? I don't know. I'd probably say 60% yes. Bobby and Elise says, feed Povetkin to Dubois. I assume that's a joke. Paul said he's enjoying the biggest puncher on the planet hype. PJB says, Dubois, let's feed Audley to him. I think Audley is long retired. Mike says, thanks for doing this tonight, BG. Much appreciated. My pleasure, Mike. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Mike says, Box Nation going overboard on Dubois. Stuart says, biggest puncher since Mike Tyson. They say, lol. People are joking about biggest puncher. Dubois or Foreman or Mike. Rio Ferdinand. Bunce getting a bonus by the compliment. Fat Apple says, Gorman stops Sokolowski, so Triple D will. If only it was as simple as that, we'd all be millionaire gamblers. Zach says, what do you think of his defensive ability? It's kind of too early to tell, to be honest. We need to see him tested at a higher level. But, you know, for me, some of his over-eagerness tonight meant that he was ever so slightly open, and Coppen says he was eating a jab. I certainly saw Darts, who's a smaller man, land a jab on him once or twice. Basically, it's time for me. It's about reserving judgment. But we shall see. We shall see as he steps up to a slightly higher level. Right, let me go back to the chat. Obianulli says, Gossip, you don't think Triple D beats Povetkin? No, I do not. Zanaliaska said, I think Dubois, Dave Allen, no need to rush him. Let him get some rounds. Yep, I think rounds are going to be key for his development. PJB says, I think Allen could cause Dubois some problems. I think you should look at the, some in-between fights. He's 20. He can have fight 7, 8, 9 times next year. Let's beat him some durable journeymen. Let's maybe give him a Sokolowski. Let's give him a Konstantin Eric. Let's give him a Dennis Baktov. Those sort of names. Let's see him in against that sort of type of fighter, and that sort of thing. Let's see how he gets on with those sort of guys. Really, those sort of rounds are going to be invaluable experience. And whilst he's building a lot of hype and a lot of name behind himself by wiping people out in a round, it's not giving him too much experience. Paul has put Allen will take him rounds for sure. So there we are. Looks like the next fight out is going to be Anthony Yarde versus Nicolas Sesloka. So step up fight for Anthony Yarde. I don't think too many people are going to be picking Sesloka for the victory. I think one of the big questions is going to be whether Yarde stops him or not. So let me just introduce the fighters to you guys in advance. This is for the WBO European Light Heavyweight title, for the WBO Intercontinental Light Heavyweight title. Anthony Yarde, 12 KOs against Nicolas Sesloka, 32-4-1. Of his 32 wins, 11 come by way of KO. Most notably, Nicolas Sesloka, never been stopped. Never been stopped. Last time out, he got a draw against Robert Stieglitz up at light heavyweight. Prior to that, he's fought more at super middleweight. He lost to Tyrone Zoiga, lost to Callum Smith, lost to Arthur Abraham, took a loss to Sakio Bika. Some decent bits and pieces of form. A win against Hadilla Mohammadi. One or two other names. So he's fought at a high level. Certainly the biggest fight of Yarde's career to date. And, looking forward to that one. Tom O'Brien says, hope you had Dubois inside 2, like me, at 4-6. That is, of course, the inimitable Irish Tom from the podcast. Paul's ducking out. Cheers, Paul. See, Alex has joined, long-time supporter of the channel. Evening, Alex. Dubois looks like a very thudding puncher. At the end of the day, Joshua couldn't knock Darts down, as the pundits just said, and Dubois dropped him 4 times, so impressive. Interesting that their commentators are drawing the Joshua parallels. Obviously, because I'm doing this, I'm not seeing the live commentary, so I'm having to make without. Ashley says, what round? Dubois knocked out Darts in the second round. Bobby Anulli says Yarde and Dubois shouldn't be on TV. A ridiculous opinion, in my opinion. Lawrence says Rudenko. Rudenko would be a good fight. Sure, to give him rounds. Maybe that's a fight 3 or 4 fights away, though. The Hitman says, what about Cornish? Yeah, Cornish is another fight you could take. That's a fight you'd pick him to win. Alex Fraser has joined. He says, good evening, BG. Good evening, Alex. There we go. Rob is saying 4-6 wasn't worth my time on Daniel Dubois. Yeah, I had a look at that bet myself. I've recently launched the Boxing Gossip gambling service that a few of you have signed up to via Patreon. And that was one of the markets that I looked at. But we didn't quite go for that one this time around. Paul says, I think I've genuinely upset Irish Tom. Didn't even get a hello. Fat Apple says, do you think Dubois is ready for Sam Sexton? Let's give it a few more fights. Let's see someone take him 4 or 5 rounds before you put him in a title fight, That's where you're going to see a real test, if you like. Right, so it looks like Nicholas's locker is in the ring. So I assume Anthony Yarde will be making his way out shortly. We've had up to 100 people joining live. Thanks to everyone who's joined. If you're joining for the first time, you haven't done so before, please hit subscribe so you can check out all the other stuff on this channel. We've had 2 people press subscribe since we've gone live. So many thanks to those 2 people for joining the channel. I'm told that I'm about 30 to 40 seconds delayed. So if you want my commentary to sync up with your Box Nation, press pause on your Box Nation by about 40 seconds and you'll be able to hear me live. Irish Tom's had a nice win tonight on Daniel Dubois. Fair play to you, Irish Tom. And it looks like Anthony Yarde has a gentleman rapping to bring him out to the ring. Daniel says, oh no, this is a little bit cringeworthy. Well, this is one of the benefits of listening to the BG commentary, is that you don't have to hear some of this cringeworthy stuff because the mute button is on. So I can't hear what is being said. I do not know whether Steve Bunce has called Daniel Dubois the greatest puncher to have ever lived. You know, you just having to do it with me tonight. And I can see Anthony Yarde making his way to the ring. Definite step-up fight. You know, not a fight I expect him to be troubled in. I don't expect him to lose or to get beat in any sense, but a fight where some questions could be asked of Anthony Yarde. And sometimes those fights can be the most interesting. You know, he's had a one-sided career to date. And you know, this is someone who could maybe at least give him rounds and test out that stamina. A lot of people complaining about the rap. See, I can't hear the rap because I'm doing this for you, and I'm kind of like, if you want to put him on pause, you can just go with my commentary rather than being subjected to it. But that is your choice. 66 people hit the thumbs up button. Moldy said, have YouTube sorted out your videos yet with the demonetization? Absolutely not. No, it continues to be a problem. And you know, I think it's affecting the majority of creators rather than just me. I don't think it's anything personal against me, but no, it's been a bit of a blow, I won't lie. But I've had some good support from the BG faithful via Patreon, which I'm very grateful for. So just continuing to look to grow out things that way. Stefan, no, we're not showing the fight, just live commentary once it gets started. Tom says, British boxing in a great moment. PJB says, Hatman had issues too with demonetization. You know, my take, I heard Hatman's video, shout out to Hatman. My take is that it's affecting more people than it isn't, to be honest. So, yeah, doesn't surprise me whatsoever. The MC doing the introductions as we are calling the 2 guys into the ring. So, yeah, looks like we are not too far away from this fight taking place, which will be good. Yarde looked very good in his career to date. You know, he's kind of taking care of business with consummate ease. He's done very well, and will be interesting to see against a guy like Nicholas's locker, who's had more exposure at world level. You know, been in with the likes of Callum Smith, Arthur Abraham, Sakio Bika, Tyrone Zoiga. Took a draw against Stieglitz last time out. You know, it'd be interesting to see. My take is that this guy, this is locker, probably not a light heavyweight. and probably not someone who has the ambition at 39 years old to beat Anthony Yarde, but we shall see. Daniel says Dubois and Yarde, really looking forward to watching 12 months down the line. Jonathan says if Yarde wins, he's to stay at this level for at least one more fight. So, yeah, okay, looks like final introductions are taking place, and then we will get on with the live commentary. Let's see, let's hope this fight goes a little bit longer than that Daniel Dubois fight. So the plan tonight is just to do these two fights. Going to save the voice after this, and going to do a post-fight review of Degale and Selby later. But Apple says, in all honesty, I think this is the best card Frank Warren has done for a long time. Kind of disagree there for Apples. I like, you know, competitive fights where you can't really pick the winner. You know, this is a fight. This is a fight card where in the main fights, pretty much everyone is, you know, every home fighter is anticipated to win with a bit of ease. Tetley, not on the beers tonight, mate. On the coffee, actually. Picking up with the marathon training again, so slacking off the beers a little bit. Right. Looks like we're about to get going. Good that we're on with some more boxing. As I say, if you're joining new, this is about 40 seconds behind. So press pause on your Box Nation by about 40 seconds, and it will sync with my commentary. Both guys come out to the center of the ring, and tentatively, both of them pouring with the jab at the beginning of the first round. Says Locker, not starting intimidated, trying to come forward, trying to pose some early questions to Yarde. Yarde snapping that jab out, getting some movement going. Yarde looking very fast, very athletic in there so far. 30 seconds gone. Nothing of note really landed. Yarde looking for the right hand for the first time in the fight. I think it just fell short. Yarde looking very sharp in there. Lots of head movement, lots of upper body movement, quick hands, quick feet. Liking what I see so far, despite the fact we're still very early. And Yarde changing up the angles, moving left, moving right. This is Locker trying to narrow down the range, trying to come forward, trying to position Yarde back against the ropes, but Yarde looks very happy, very controlled where he is, and we've had a minute of the first round. Yarde reaches with the right hand cross, which kind of cuffs his Locker, then leads in with a left hand hook, then a right hand cross and another left hand hook. None of them landing too clean at this stage. He looks a hell of a lot bigger than Sislocka. You know, Sislocka's had a career at super middleweight. He looks small in there physically compared to the beast that is Anthony Yarde. 90 seconds left in the first round, and Yarde takes one back for Sislocka there, but poking away with that jab, snapping that jab out. I'm not sure how much weight is behind it, but it's very quick, very snappy, and Yarde's sort of jabbing and moving very, very well. He's on the back foot a bit this fight, Yarde. Sislocka is looking to come forward. Sislocka doesn't look scared or intimidated. Yarde digs into the body with a left hook and then a right cross upstairs. It's a nice punch. He's looking quite sharp here, Anthony Yarde, for me. I'm liking what I'm seeing in Yarde. He's boxing nicely, lots of head movement, lots of upper body movement, not making himself an easy target for Sislocka. We've had just over 2 minutes of the first round, and we have 45 seconds left now of that first round, and both guys in the middle of the ring, and Yarde picking away with that jab, boxing nicely in this first round. It will be a comfortable first round to Anthony Yarde. Lands a right cross there with Sislocka, but we know what Sislocka's chin is like. Yarde looking for that right hand again. He's not going to be a simple knockover job like he's had in some of his other fights. Yarde goes with the left hook, the right cross again. He's kind of swapping hands nicely with his combinations, left, right, left. You know, done that a few times already in this round. Sislocka pouring with the jab, not really landing much of note on Yarde here. It's got to be said. Quite an easy first round for Anthony Yarde, but Sislocka doesn't look scared. He doesn't look like he's just going to get blown out of there, which is the important thing. Wizard says good first round from Yarde. Fat Apple said good movement from Yarde. Totally agree. Fat Apple says Locker's face is reddening. Yeah, Yarde's clearly got some weight behind those punches. I would agree. So we're just in an advertisement break now between the first and second round. Tetley says good first round. Yarde warmed straight into it. Absolutely. Yarde looking quite on form there. Yarde, I guess, has got to be mindful of the fact that he may go a few rounds here because his lock is very durable. Alex says, considering he's so muscle-bound, he doesn't look stiff or robotic, which is rare. He's talking about Anthony Yarde. Lawrence said, great movement. He looks quicker and less stiff than previous. So people impressed with Anthony Yarde so far. We know Yarde can bang. We know he's got power. We've seen that in his game. Kind of nice for us to see a little bit more. Second round begins. Yarde has already caught Locker with a left-hand hook, from a leading left-hand hook. Locker looked momentarily wobbled. I think it was just balance. He does look very small to me in there. Oasis said Yarde looking good. 30 seconds gone in the first round. And Locker's still showing some ambition. You know, he's trying to put punches together, trying to ask questions of Anthony Yarde. Yarde digs to the body with a right hook, gets the left jab pumping again. Left jab 3 times, right hook to the body, digs in. Locker, game as you like, though, not going to be intimidated, eating these punches nicely and continues to come forward. Lands his own jab, lunges with a right cross that misses wildly. And the two guys are now fighting on the inside. Yarde digs into that body again. He's banked a few decent body punches to this round in the bank. Let's see how that affects the fight later on. Yarde going away with that jab, snapping that jab out again. Locker's still forward though. He goes left hook to the head, right hook to the body, and lands the hook to the body on Anthony Yarde. Yarde returns with his own right hook to the body, and they're trading hooks in the center of the ring now. This is quite good stuff for me. Yarde's movement is good. I like the way he's changing left, right. He's fighting more on the back foot here today, which is interesting. And he digs in another right hook to that Locker body and then teams it with a left jab. Locker pushes Yarde back. He's got him with his back to the ropes, but Yarde landing some good work off the ropes. You know, he's trying to mimic a bit of Floyd Mayweather on the ropes. He's got a solar roll going. He's trying to time punches and then snap back with his own bodywork. I must say I'm impressed with Locker's ambition tonight. You know, liking what I'm seeing from Locker, looking to ask some questions there as Yarde digs in a little uppercut on the inside with his own back to the ropes and then a left hook to the body. Locker's face is reddening ever so slightly. Perhaps he's just looking to take a breather there on the inside. Yarde seems quite content to have his back to the ropes. He's not panicking. Locker's still piling forward. He's throwing wide punches, lots of hooks, but Yarde doing quite a nice job defensively, which is good to see. And Yarde's putting some nice short and punches, and he's dropped Locker. Doesn't look like a huge knockdown, but Locker's up. He's on slightly unsteady legs. Locker's lunged in and Yarde's landed something. I think it might have been one of them short uppercuts. You know, he's working really well with his back to the rope. 20 seconds of round 2 left, and Yarde's thrown a huge left hook there looking for the kill, but Locker misses it. And I think Locker has refound his footing, but Yarde is caught in there with a big right cross, which has knocked Locker unsteady again. And Yarde's power is really starting to tell. The second round has come to a close there. And says Locker, that was a tough round for him. He got dropped very, very, very heavy. Yarde was comfortable with the back to his ropes. He was countering, says Locker, well. I'm just looking at a replay to see what it was he landed. It was a good short on combination. It was a left hook, right uppercut, which knocked his opponent back, and then a big right cross, which tips Locker off balance and dropped him. And Locker goes down on unsteady legs. He looked like he'd recovered when he got back up, but then Yarde landed a big right cross, which put him back on unsteady legs. So fair play to Locker for getting back up and for continuing. Let's see if he can have regained some of his composure into the third round. Let's see if he's worse for wear as a result of that knockdown. The third round begins, and both guys come out to the center of the ring. Yarde gets the jab going straight away, dips it into the body. Says Locker still coming forward. He doesn't look like he's going to necessarily be put into his cell by that knockdown. He's trying to get his own jab going. Throws 3 jabs that are coming up short. Yarde, lots of movement, a very fluid, smooth fighter. Fluid, his jab's constantly feinting. His legs are moving, his upper body's moving. He's snapping out that jab. He's a good fighter, Yarde. I'm liking what I'm seeing in him here. This is a step up, and he's handling it well so far. Says Locker still looking to put punches together, but they're not landing clean. What I like about Yarde, we know he's a bit of a offensive juggernaut, but you know, defensively, he's got some smarts in there as well. We've had just about a minute of round 3, and Says Locker is kind of wrestled to the floor by Anthony Yarde. He's not hurt. The referee, no knockdown, obviously, and the action continues with 2 minutes left. Says Locker lands a jab on Yarde. Not too much on it, but it does land. Fair play to him for that. Yarde returns with a few of his own that fall short and is now trying to walk forward. Maybe this is Yarde deciding he wants to try and be a bit more on the front foot and not let Says Locker push him back. Yarde slaps out that jab. He's looking for the right cross, but it comes up short. And now Says Locker's back on the game, and they're in the middle of the ring. Says Locker throws a looping right hand that cuffs Anthony Yarde. It's not clean, but he's still in there throwing away. Yarde is liking that lead left hook. He's just throwing 3 on the bounce, then mixed it up with a right and another left hook. It's an effective weapon. Says Locker lands a right cross on Yarde. Doesn't look like there's much power on it. Says Locker lands 2. This is developing into a bit of a scrap, you know. Says Locker's just landed 2 or 3 on Yarde. Again, you can tell he doesn't have the power and snap that Yarde has, but Says Locker's bringing it. This is perhaps a little bit of a test of Anthony Yarde, because if he's fighting like this, Yarde's not someone who's fought a lot of rounds in his career to date. Let's see how his stamina holds up over 7 or 8. Says Locker can last that long, but Says Locker's still in there and he's game. 45 seconds left of round 3, and Says Locker's coming forward and putting punches together. They're scrappy, they're not pretty, they're not crisp, but he looks like he's slightly weathered the storm. I can see Frank Warren going mental at ringside. He's screaming, he's red in the face. I don't know what he's saying. Yarde still looks comfortable in there as he banks work to the body again, Yarde. And we go back to the center of the ring with 20 seconds left, and they're fencing from range. Yarde throwing a lot of power off his jab. He's a very explosive fighter, Anthony Yarde. Lots of power punches, lots of explosion. He's just been caught by a right cross from Says Locker. Let's see. Interested to see how his stamina does hold up here. We know he cuts a lot of weight. We know he's missed weight a few times. Interesting. Guys, end of round 3. Talk to me. How are you reading this fight? Why is Frank going mental? Stuart says Frank's having a heart attack. Coppen says Yarde needs to go to the high guard. His shoulder roll's fake. Alex says Locker's a very game, tough guy. Hope he pushes the pace. Yarde needs a test. Fat Apple says fair play to Locker. He's trained quite a bit. Electric says haha yes. Frank's face. Fat Apple says Yarde's movement has disappeared from round 1. Just standing there like a sandbag and getting hit. Tetley says he loves the observation on Frank, and I'm watching a replay. Says Locker's landed some punches there on Yarde. This is the first time I've seen punches like that landed on Yarde in his career. And as Lawrence says, this is building into a good scrap. Let's see. Could this actually be a real test for Anthony Yarde? Enjoying this one, guys. Round 4 begins. Let's see. Middle of the ring. Yarde gets the jab going. Says Locker gets his own jab off. It's being fought at a decent pace for me. This Yarde lands a big right cross, and Warren's clapping, and Yarde now digging in punches up close. He shortens up his uppercut, sorting up his hooks, and he's, you know, you can feel that he senses he's got his man hurt. Says Locker rolls back, and Yarde throws him with a huge right cross. 2 of them, both of them miss. Says Locker ducks under both of them. Yarde really eager here with his power punches, but he's hurting Says Locker, and Says Locker's dropped a short left hook. Says Locker's on unsteady legs. He's off balance. He's up, counts at 7. It looks like he's going to continue to me. That's a pivotal moment now. Let's see if Yarde can get him out of there now. 2 minutes 15 left of round 4. Yarde goes to the jab. Says Locker still comes forward. Yarde lands a big right cross. Says Locker's wobbled. This is going to get stopped imminently, I think. Says Locker is really on unsteady legs. Yarde is teeing off here. Big uppercut on the inside, big right hand. And I think the referees waved it off. The referees waved it off 1 minute into round 4. And Yarde's up on the turnbuckle celebrating. Moldy, I hope you got a good drink to keep the commentary going. Commentary is going to come to a close very shortly, I'm afraid. Yarde wins. 4th round stoppage over Nicola. Says Locker stopped for the first time in his professional career. Look, says Locker's 39. Says Locker's fighting a weight class above where he spent the majority of his career. But credit goes to Anthony Yarde. Credit goes to Anthony Yarde. This is a guy who's been the distance with Stieglitz, with Abraham, went the distance with Callum Smith. And Yarde's just stopped him. He's won every round. He's had him hurt. He's wobbled him on several occasions. And when he felt like he could get him stopped, he really went through the motions and put a lot of big punches together. For me, the big question about Anthony Yarde will remain his stamina as he goes through the level. He's a very muscular guy. Looks like he cuts a lot of weight to get down to 175. And he fights with a lot of movement, a lot of explosiveness. That is the real question for me as he, steps up in level. When he gets to the opponent who will take him rounds, how will he fare? Tetley, exciting when Yarde smells blood. Oasis said Yarde looks world class. Jay Billow says good stuff, BG. Tom Roberts says good commentary, top comments. Tony says well done, BG, and more than the BT coverage. Cheers, Tony. Appreciate it, mate. Fat Apples Yarde reminds me a little bit of David Hay before he fought Cole Thompson. I wonder if he punches himself out. Lawrence said Yarde looked good. Fair play to the opponent. Came to fight. Impressed by Yarde. Really liked his movement early on in the finish. Bobby and Ully says 39 years old. How much notice did he have? I think he had quite a bit of notice, actually. I think this is a bit of notice. That wasn't a short fight. I remember talking about the fight several weeks ago. Not like 2 or 3, more like 4 or 5. Ben wants to see Yarde fight Buglioni for the British. Would certainly be an interesting fight. You have to make Yarde a fairly strong favourite. Teo said Yarde looks very good. Tom says great performance. Tetley says thanks for the commentary, BG. Always fun. Fat Apple says pretty good performance. I'm going to give Yarde props for that. He looked good. He boxed nicely early on. Looked very sharp. Got his opponent hurt. And when he got him hurt, he was able to finish. He was able to pull the trigger. He was able to get him out of there. Fair play to Anthony Yarde. It's a big step up. He's come through with flying colours. Lawrence says, does Yarde stop Buglioni for you, BG? He does. Buglioni, for me, very, very, very questionable defensively. Guys, I need to save the voice. Over and out. Thanks to the people who've watched live. Enjoyed the fights. Always good to see prospects like Dubois, Yarde, stepping up, coming through the ranks. Carl says, thank you for the commentary, BG. Appreciate it, mate. Thanks for tuning in. I'll leave it there. Enjoy the fights tonight, guys. Post-fight reaction video to Degale and Selby coming later. Stay tuned for that. Press subscribe if you haven't already so you can check that out. Loma versus Rigo response post-fight review will be up tomorrow morning, probably by about 10, 11 a.m. Lawrence says, thanks for the commentary. Enjoy the rest of the night. Can't wait for Loma Rigo. Hurst says, good win. Still think Yarde's chin is dodgy. Fat Apple says, cheers, BG. On that note, we'll wrap it up. Please press subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitter at Boxing Gossip. Thanks for tuning in, guys.